Inside Story Uganda, real source of political updates.
Helicopters tebazikolerayo.
Eno gibamutwala mu
immediately. Tebali temwakoze workshop ya helicopters mu Africa. Nabaga n'omulala gwe police packet gundi ono. Lwagoyete mwogera kwenye. Eyakuuma amasasi.
Eyakuuma amasasi.
Yaliyo nga sabitana gendayo.
Mugira.
Amasasi ne kali kolebwa mu ggwanga kyekitafuluma. Nabaga digoloza lashe mikati jiremedde mu park. Nga supermarket yali wali. Ejiri mu park bajiba mu bakery ya sente ntono. Ne amasasi. Mu Uganda ne mukolebwa mu amasasi nga simanji. Those one praise them. In fact that's material. Omusango gumaze okusalibwa. Abamaje be basobola ebintu. Abaganda bakugamba nti babikulya balungi mirimu. Will they be used to deliver services? N'obukulembeze be babusaana. Anasikira Museveni ajja kuba wa maji tusibe sente.
Twetaaga wa maji?
Ate byonna bakulaze. Uli akibaziseemu. Somebody can have a company, Tata. Aina abaana aba. Nebo yali alitayalinga yaleeta outside managing company. Basembule baleeta baabwe ku ttaka. Katoto yaleeta babini bazivuka mu motoka z'empaka. Wava munna akyalemedde n'obugagga bwe. Tannakikwasa akibakwasa alabe.
Bwakikwasa abali.
Akibakwase. Abazina endongo. Bazizinemu endongo.
Bageze kuba mu endongo.
Tayagala ebyo.
Oluliyumba ki?
Sulaiman. Mama yankuza. Nini nambyesiga. Nabaga nti jiri vanira jirina. Baseba tate bakyayimba. Badani jugula. Jiri vanira jirina. Yaba chala ani jirina. Babasituka bazina. Baseba tawa. That's your generation. This group uses digital reverse psychology. You are fighting insecurity. No go baba tembe ibo nani mukyalo. President nagamba nti bagende ewakiseka. Bagende basaba million yemu. Kapo support tampeko yamata. What does this Musembe? Who carries watches damage in Kampala? Ainaka kufuke. Define. Mutembe cannot be on a store because kutembea business mobility.
Kutembea.
Yes. Kati usimutembe get another name. Nti bana nze nina ntunda sente.
Gwe?
Umadala kapaka. Nange ninawo. Sente mpya nzijawo. Disimu gondi currency.
Gunoti obukira n'obulikase.
Kubanga nekitegeera. We are helping the government to protect these small denominations. People come walaga mukyalo million. Bwowa mukyalo omuntu emitwalo 2 tadda. Emitwalo 5 tadda. But when you have your small denominations, we are helping mbwabajja omusajja bamuyita Tom. Mbwabajjawo. Those batembe. You want the sellers of this money who are helping tuzijjawo mu Bank of Uganda realize our importance. Kakati gwo abatunda sente goli mubbi. Kyovera bagende gye bana ababbira. Abo batembe.
Bana batunda change ku pano umusoro nali afu.
Ade batembe. Ade batembe. So define batembe. Banoti jumla. Omwana yaveka tuchi eyava azalidwe katechinyolo. Amanye hoyima. Aza amutolo. Akulidde mu kitolo. Amanyi efotopotro. Omu kifumbira. Amanye rukiga. Katule mu kayumba ekirabbe. Kakati ate babatadde mu sente. This is where I pity Museveni. Kati babatadde mu sente ate bayike mu kibuga. Ababagobyemu ate babatadde mu sente.
Ebyo magambo ya Job Sobola.
Magambo tobimukola. Ebya reverse psychology. Magambo ajja kugamba tugende mu ndage. Ewakiseka tubatwalawa. Under which conditions? Kwa reverse psychology kuba omukulembeze n'emuteeka wali.
Obudde kutudukako. Njagala tugendeko mu akazu politics. Twasoma oluli.
Twasoma ku gundi. Twasoma.
Erusomewa.
Esoma ku UPC.
Muwanga n'obote.
Okay. Akazu.
Atuliza ndiku page.
Akazu kava mu ggulu. Kayini ya tabu.
Akazu politics in the countries. Lessons from Rwanda, Kenya and South Sudan. Muwanga overthrows obote. Twasoma ko wiche wede. Remember this gist of the submission is that once a united group whose unity is a result of common enemies goes, the unity of the alliance develops cracks. The Bushro in Luero had united the Acholi and the Langi because Museveni's victory spelled doom for them. They lost war due to the high number of human losses and the low morale. The Acholi soldiers who formed the bulk of the UNLF started complaining that while they were losing lives on the front line in large numbers, the Langi officers were busy stealing money in the public house and the headquarters of the army. They further alleged that the Langis registered a few casualties because they were not deployed at the front line, but given easy assignments. This was a period when Oite Ojok died. Obote found himself in a very awkward situation. He could not entrust the army to Ana Acholi when the same group was disgruntled. The Acholi, on the other hand, had wanted one of their own, especially Basil Okello, to succeed Oite Ojok as army chief of staff. In my opinion, the Acholi were not fair because Okello Lotua was already the army commander, but the chief of staff could not have been an Acholi again. However, since they did not trust any other officer outside their two tribes, they could not solve this problem. There were possible replacements like Major Kayongo, Namiti, and others outside the Acholi, the Lango region. Obote finally appointed Brigadier Smith Oponachak as a fellow Langi. Despite his record of indiscipline, he had no respect for the Okellos who were senior in the rank and above. Furthermore, Smith Oponachak was a heavy drinker who always carried a large container of liralira in his escort vehicle. He also did not take part in the Liberation War. He joined the Liberations in 1978 after completing a training course in the army tank operation in Greece. However, Obote plotted to isolate Mwanga and the two Okellos when he appointed Oponachak, a fellow Langi, as the army chief of staff. Secondly, with the help of the British Army, a team of trainers from Tanzania and North Korean commandos, Obote trained over 20,000 troops and equipped them with the Korean-made arms, including the famous Katusha. The troops were deployed in Luwero to flush out Yoweri Museveni once and for all. He picked a fellow Langi, Lieutenant Colonel Charles Ogole, the commander, to command the operation. To temper Mwanga's influence, Dr. Obote also appointed Peter Otai as Minister of State for Defense with powers and finances to flush out the NRA rebels. He also entrusted Chris Rakasisi, who was spitting fire, with the Minister of Security, in whose docket all fell NASA, Dr. Obote's spy agency. Rakasisi was at the time not seeing eye to eye with Paulo Mwanga. He used every opportunity through the Nyankole proverbs to reveal the first relationship between Mwanga and Obote. It was at this point that Mwanga changed the attitude towards the opposition politicians. He reinforced FDemo and UFM, which had earlier crashed. This is how we managed to form a coalition after Obote's downfall. Paulo Mwanga wanted to introduce a new political organization which would effectively isolate Yoweri Museveni as a warmonger. He crafted a government of unity where he was to be the prime minister, and Obote and Okello Lutua became the ceremonial president. This means that Mwanga wanted to realign the country at independence days. Mwanga managed to convince the fighting groups to join his government of national unity to serve for the NRA. Trouble for Mwanga came when the coalition started suffering cracks. Why? The NRA leadership was totally opposed to Paulo Mwanga. In fact, Mwanga had killed many rebel activities at his office in Nile Mansion. Activists at his office in Nile Mansions. Secondly, the Okellos wanted to use the military force to defeat Museveni, which failed. People like Kano Gadulson Toko wanted war to continue. Toko was receiving financial benefits from Egyptian cells to Lutua's government. The Okellos believed that they would fill the gap left behind by the Langi, with people from West Nile. This is where they blundered by enforcing the army with former Amini soldiers. It was at this point when the newspaper reports indicated that former Amini's henchmen like Isaac Mariamungu had returned to Uganda. Major Unzi was already a member of the ruling commission, military commission. This decision was a game game changer. Engineer Abraham Waligo was replaced. Who replaced Mwanga was not a politician, although he had served in Obote's government. Tanzania had invaded Uganda to chase away Idi Amin because he posed a threat to Tanzania's security. Amin, in his madness, had attempted to annex Kagera, which declared Uganda's province. Therefore, President Mwalimu Kambarage Nyerere could not allow the pro-Idi Amin government in Kampala. This is why the peace talks had been scheduled to be in Dar es Salaam shifted to Nairobi. President Nyerere could not associate with a government dominated by Idi Amin remnants. Back to Kigali. Ngende Kigali.
Nzanto olubasa sika syndicate science era mwekali. Kasomula bagende.
By outlining the formation of the Akazu politics and hence the politics of Akazu as the title of this book. When the Tutsi went into exile, they never forgot to return to their country Rwanda. Although Tanzania offered citizenship to Rwandese refugees, many rejected it and remained by Nyarwanda with the hope to return to their country one day. However, the Hutu did not believe that this would happen again. Early attempts by refugees to return to Rwanda by force had failed. The Tutsi tried 3 times to use Burundi as an entry point, but they failed. The Hutus, backed by international backers, especially France, did not pressurize Habyarimana to find a solution to the plight of the Rwandan refugees. Even when those in Uganda demanded 4 Rwandan passports, Habyarimana arrogantly told them that the glass is filled to the brim and therefore it cannot accommodate more liquid.
Those Rwanda refugees who think that they will go home. Rwanda is like a fully filled glass with Jewish. Additional Jewish cannot be accommodated. I advise you, don't
ever return back. Don't
abuse your Uganda's hospitality. Remain here. Naina tunolira kuentebe nga Habyarimana atuose lwekimanga bwali prominently emotoka yatwala Habyarimana e Luwero yafiira mu kkubo. Why did Museveni take Habyarimana to Luwero kumulaga nti olutalo bye luleeta obiraba bote yagana okuteesa naffe Abanyarwanda abaali basaba passport bwe bagulawo Habyarimana olutalo ekyokudda ewaabwe yali number 10 out of the 10 points. Okudde office kyekizibu. Even Hutus are cutting sugar canes in metals farms.
Uganda.
The problem is economic. Olubamera. Buyina okuvaako. Yagamba, Habyarimana yagamba, temuga nti Akagera National Park. Ezzike eriri mu Akagera National Park lisinga Abanyarwanda 10 abakomawo. Tulifunamu dollars. Yayina hoteli y'eggabiro nga gyawummulira. Twasala endongo engabiro nga kujja ekitande kya Habyarimana tukyebakako yinitandisi okutusabala
ngafudde
anti olutalo tugenda olutalo lwali tutuusa ekibuye bano ne balwanagana. That's what the mistake they made. Babayingana n'ebinyenyezi bwe batta Lwejema ate nabo baabatta. So nga ate Kampala bwe yatta Sankara tebamutta.
Blaise Kampala.
Yes. Singa olutalo baaluleka within 4 days kati President Kagame bamujja mu America n'alwana olutalo olw'ekiyeekera single-handedly omugenda kumpola
Kagame.
When he shifted from a conventional war which was going to top a Kigali government, the President Yagam, the advisor Habyarimana, Havana Babagenze, these are our best. I think I mean Yagamba Habyarimana. The America Uganda will gava a Kampala after breakfast, a lunch Gajira Chigali.
I mean,
who sees in everyone that is source. No. Why do you believe that people like Kaleches, people like Nyamihana Mulenga, people like Aigugu, people like Kirenga, Eliet Miserwada, Nasumira Scholarship ya Uganda, Bayakumu Yawasamukazi Munyarwanda, Nakuna Baganda, since Serwada Banak, Enzi Kirenga, Mutabani Wanda Zibonye.
But when we just said what da,
Mitiano, Why did Banyarwanda play a crucial role? Nimuamini intelligence yali Abanyarwanda. Awe Africa Banyarwanda ante gondi ya kugamba Machiveri. If we want to survive, fill the intelligence and the police with the foreigners. Bakube migo, siba citizen. But at the moment you fill the army with the foreigners, a foreigner cannot die if a country which is not his. That is the role of nationals. And he gave an example. The Italian army was filled by foreigners. They watched when our city Florence was being taken over by the enemies. Go foreigner muteke police akubira abantu emiko. Muteke mu revenue. Taba na kisaku bantu. Sibayo. Neto muteka mu musoro. Tumuteka mu maje. Ababbo musoro. Abakuba. Mumwalonda wachi. Futufasajja twava Rwanda temutwerega mu. The spoilers of this government. Abantu bachokola ebikolobero abawa nkyovulaba the stupid Uganda being used. There is no Westerner, an educated Westerner who comes on the scene of crime. Westerner ajja kulinda ekiganda kikoba abantu mu ttaka eyajja abayite abanga abataka mpulira tebabasasula kuba yamanyi land is appreciative. Abasasule bulungi nnyo oyo gundi Lukutana yatandika ewazana ku millennium ne kapolitikamu naye waliwo omukazi Nalungu yamuga ntojja kungula yasigalawo. Lukutana bwe yagulanga omuntu olamula mmeka sebo ojja kumpa obukadde 5 ngenda kuwa 7 nereeta mukazi wo naye naamuwa namuga kakati mbazimbidde n'ennyumba gye mulaga luddawa. Who is fighting Lukutana? Nti awazana wali walwanyisa Lukutana aguzeewo wonna. His approach was different. Moi
approach ya Lukutana omunyankole tesobola kubanga
amanyi future
Semakula Baganda Semakula Baganda bakola batya
ateka bagabetenta kati kino ekyakuba omwana nga kyesigago gundi ate nga nze omwana nga gundi yambukubira bwerere kandiko batula mu meeting ne bagamba katugambe mu 7 nti bagenda kucha ekibuga Museveni urupali kyatuwesende kakati president bamugamba nti abantu bagenda kucha ekibuga bazukulu bange bagala kucha ekibuga nti mubakwate mubateeke mu farms mu bifo tuba training era sane mention diti tyabo beteeka ku mentalinga baba president baba training kati kozibo bali bagala kweyambisa kintu ekyo to implicate the special forces ezamugozi. Where did the USA get the photos of tortured people? Some disappeared. Museveni bwe yasomanga ku radio n'asoma amanya gaabwe nga bafu. Who was doing it? And America had infiltrated their system. Nakuga nti bakola Zoom nga Zoom eriko kuyisi wini Uganda nga boogera ekiro omwajja ku munne balina senta nekigwa emirundi 3 nze nali nkimonitalinga nekigwa emirundi eki kozi sai ekiyingiddemu tebategeera baleeta bakyayina kukizaako ng'ekiri ku Zoom ekiro ne basekerera akamu 7 kayina gundi abantu ekyabwe kyaliko abantu 45 nga ayagala okwogera ne munne wano bazikiza banne ne batabulira abajjako ninga Amerika bakisensera meeting yakandiko sai infiltrated it
bamutute South Sudan tumalize nayo kwango bado tuwele
ne Southern Sudan inaija kutuko Ghana inafinga dumping place
ina capacity Ghana. Is it a dumping place?
Where I was a bit disappointed. Pozinga has gone under some rehabilitation. Birungi nti birungi bebali bagala bebakubanga popi the mega misirifu
birungi
because they were panicking. I want the Bobi Wine not to go to Nagamba Bobi Wine to genda Kayunga bagenda kuttirayo. Some panicky people bali bagenda kupulala nka Uganda into civil war, and I write it in my book Bobi Wine akokube. To all of those people harassing Bobi Wine, they belong to one tribe. Ti akakaza akampi bwekati kagana Bobi Wine okusula ekirya ndongo nga yasasudde nasula ku kkubo. Oyinza kujja omuyimbi amanyira okusula mu bitooke mu bidongo omusuze ku kkubo is a punishment, but those who see it
bobo eno kumusuza kudongo
ntize Mirundi nti osibidde nti okumpa mishinga osibidde wano njogere oyo musajja gundi Alex mukuru tasibiranga Lwanyalale wano Lwanyalale nayogera ikanga yagenze sayogera na ba UPC Lwanyalale teyogera esawa biringa gundi yagenze ngali ku radio yamwe
mukuru yafuluma bufulu
mukuru bwe bamulete Lwanyalale bwe yajja yayogera naye he some doubt but Lwanyalale spent 2 hours talking to himself when Alex mukuru had left
ochijugira nechi
yes omwana yali stubborn ngali stubborn kitawinga mugaga na mugaga kati okubolereza omanyi kankutwali mu kyale wa jjajjaawo yagenda mu kimayi after 2 months ng'omwana takyagala kuvaayo yaga nti ndagawo erinza nnyana ddole wenemba ekuula eri ku kyalo nsula nzeka mu katanda jjajja nsula naye ampita mwami ambikka siri mwansiri nkimaki ewammwe nywa bya firiji
eno nnyo kusuwa
naye nze nywa ne ku Coca-Cola ayokya kaawa amuyita Coca-Cola Coca-Cola weri yali wa firiji jjajja ampa Coca-Cola ayokya
kaawa natekamuleka sukali
kati nkimaki the man who wanted to punish this man
kyamusobera
he ended up ng'akoze eki
omwana
ng'alibedde mu kyalo kyembagamba ti bino byonna bye mwogera nsasira aba university e Makerere this country bye mwogera embuto z'abaana naki mwaggulawo essomero tomani baliwo ky'abaana 5 tewali yakwatibwa bakijja mu mawulire abaabukedde ebyo onajja bijjawo what do we need now
finally nga tuva kompoko saweriem
abaana babadde ebweru babadde bakola byabwe to bring them back mu kibiina you need a psychologist buli gombola yali badde DAO buli gombola yali badde ng'erina psychologist who is going to rehabilitate both the teachers and ne abemakirite bakiraba
social therapist bajibikyebyo
if you nudge mwagiteekamu bagulupu psychologist bemine Makerere nemugiteekamu ba mass communicators singa etambula psychologists and mass communicators we are change agents when we are changing society what do we do omusajja atolundanga ku nkokoto muwankoko bubeera mu buluda simanyi bakiyita buluda agisobola the early days kati ate oyo muwe zikuze if I start a farm nga nze mbawankoko zikuze yes atalundanga kuntu omuwende mbu send the cow nkuze nti njiwe ebiwata ezaale egende ew'omulala tukolera kuweza gana oba kuwa mulala those things require science and mass communicators that's why bano bonna buli bwe bayitirawo namba kuba before we talk about counseling the agreement is women willing to go ekitegeeza if women is not willing to go can accept the conditions an agreement remains an agreement as long as the conditions under which it was negotiated remain. We are not having the same problems of power rationing as we have today. In fact, mugamba buli embaga ya muwoze onakule yagenda okubeerawo nasoma mu birango by'abantu wanga abayo ebbe nga balanga amasanyalaze gagenda kuva era nga the managers mbalala tegenda kubeera n'amasanyalaze mutegedde embaga ya muwoze weenaabeera mu rationing
ngembaga ya muhoze genda kubeera mbalala ate nga tegenda kubeera masanyalaze
ayiranga the managers ku kirango kye baali bampadde mala kisoma mbwe kiba kivuma nze okujja wano mala kusoma buli ngondi kyentadde wali bwenzijja wano nga programu yange mwagijjeeko I cannot miss okusoma statement gye bataddewo ku notice board
bwebaawo atuliza Tamale tujja kwenda ku Friday ja mukama abatukumira wano bannaffe mwena abali gye mulina bwetu bwe tubadde n'omukokola zirowooza jangu osoma
magambo yankoledde
tugenze magambo yankoledde
two things accessibility to the president and the finances and the judges. That's why I propose in the court mass eberewo, but I have also 20 army officers nabo bakandulinge musaidi omukazi yali komendinga uyo mukazi ani yali komendinga yabuliriza police nti side director must be a lawyer ba lawyer bonna bali mu police wali wali e Masaka bali babadde bamugoba koza segundi segirinya ne mu statement baade bamugobye nti bali wanguzi. There is another prominent lawyer bamujemba ne bamutwala Rukungiri, not at the headquarters where they are needed. Saidi ebera mu bagezi abagezi balaga mu traffic.